quiet night shattered. The distant hum of the city fades beneath the sudden, violent screech of tires. Metal twists, glass splinters. A collision, unforgiving and final, leaves a once pristine car mangled at the edge of a deserted road. The air, heavy with smoke and gasoline, trembles under the pulse of approaching sirens. Red and blue lights dance across the wreckage as emergency responders swarm the scene, their hurried movements a sharp contrast to the stillness surrounding them. In the driver's seat, Rachel Turner, 26 years old, lies motionless. Bright, ambitious, and known for her infectious smile, she had dreams stretching far beyond the small town where she grew up. Friends described her as the kind of person who could light up a room, a woman who seemed to have it all. But tonight, that promising future was cut short. Amid the chaos, a detail, small but deliberate, waits to be found. Beneath the twisted frame, hidden in plain sight, lies the answer no one is ready for. A brake line cut, not broken. Precision where there should be randomness. It was no malfunction, no accident. Someone made sure Rachel's drive would never reach its destination. At first, the explanation seemed simple, a mechanical failure, an unavoidable tragedy. But nothing is ever as simple as it first appears. For those willing to look closer, the truth began to surface. A pattern emerged, too sharp, too intentional to ignore. This was not a matter of chance. Someone wanted this to happen, and soon the focus shifted, from the car to the people behind it. In a sterile interrogation room, the weight of that night lingers. Under the harsh glare of fluorescent lights, Claire Reynolds, Rachel's best friend of nearly a decade, sits alone. Her hands tremble, her breath comes unevenly, but her face, once warm, familiar, holds something colder now. Fear, guilt, something else. The questions press in, relentless, and one answer, once buried, begins to take shape. Rachel and Claire were inseparable. From college roommates to close confidants, they shared everything, secrets, dreams, and the kind of trust that seemed unbreakable. To the outside world, theirs was a friendship most people envied. But behind closed doors, a quiet tension had begun to grow. At the center of it all was Ethan Parker, Claire's boyfriend. Charming, attentive, and seemingly devoted. But the lines between friendship and something more can blur quickly. And when Claire began to suspect that Rachel had crossed those lines, everything changed. The truth is never sudden. It builds slowly, moment by moment, until it can no longer be contained. What began as friendship had turned into something unrecognizable. Beneath the smiles and shared memories lay fractures invisible to anyone who wasn't looking. Trust, once unshakable, had been replaced by suspicion. And when suspicion took hold, it was only a matter of time before everything began to unravel. There are no sudden betrayals, only a series of choices, each one leading closer to the edge. This story didn't begin with a crash. It began long before that, with quiet doubts, unspoken fears, and a bond that began to slip through the cracks. But when jealousy enters a friendship, it doesn't simply take. It consumes. And once the lines between loyalty and resentment blur, nothing is ever safe again. What pushes someone to cross a line they can never return from? And when that line is crossed, who pays the price? For Rachel Turner, the price was everything. And for Claire Reynolds, the truth was a burden she could no longer escape. For Rachel Turner and Claire Reynolds, their friendship was more than just a connection. It was a bond built over years of shared experiences. From the moment they met during their first year of college, they were inseparable. Through every milestone, heartbreak, and triumph, they stood side by side, always leaning on each other when life became too heavy. Days were filled with laughter, shopping trips that stretched into the evening, where they tried on clothes they couldn't afford and made promises about the future. Late-night phone calls where no topic was off-limits. Dreams, fears, and everything in between. To the world, they seemed like the perfect pair. Two friends who had each other's backs no matter what. Rachel was outgoing and full of life. She had an energy that pulled people in, the kind of person who made even the ordinary feel exciting. Claire, on the other hand, was quieter. Steady and reliable, She was always there to listen, to offer comfort when things went wrong. Different in many ways, yet their friendship worked because, at the heart of it, they trusted each other. But trust is delicate, and once it begins to crack, nothing can hold it together. Ethan Parker entered their lives like a spark. Handsome, charming, and easy to like, he had a way of making people feel special. He was Claire's boyfriend, but his presence changed more than just her life. In the beginning, it seemed simple. Rachel welcomed him, happy to see her best friend in love. The three of them often spent time together, movie nights, weekends out, casual dinners. Felt natural, easy. Yet, beneath the surface, something else began to stir. Ethan's attention wasn't always where it should have been. His words were kind, his gestures thoughtful. But sometimes, his gaze lingered on Rachel just a little too long. And Rachel? She noticed. First, she brushed it aside. A harmless glance. An innocent joke. But as time passed, those moments became harder to ignore. Claire, deeply invested in her relationship, trusted both of them. There was no reason not to. Rachel was her best friend. Ethan was the man she loved. To her, their friendship was a sign of how well the people she cared about fit together. But trust can blind people to things that are right in front of them. The lines between friendship and something else had begun to blur. And no one seemed to notice until it was too late. At first, the changes were subtle, so small they could be mistaken for nothing at all. But small things have a way of growing, and soon the air between them began to shift. Rachel and Claire still spent time together, but something felt different. The laughter didn't come as easily. Conversations, once open and free, started to feel guarded. And whenever Ethan was around, the tension was harder to ignore. It began with fleeting glances, quick and almost careless. But once seen, they couldn't be unseen. At dinner, Rachel would laugh a little too easily at Ethan's jokes. When Claire wasn't looking, his gaze would drift, lingering just a second too long. And when the three of them were together, it felt like there was always something unspoken hanging in the air. Claire told herself it was nothing. Her best friend and boyfriend were just comfortable around each other. Wasn't that a good thing? She wanted to believe that. But doubts have a way of creeping in, even when you try to push them away. The moments began piling up. One afternoon, Claire walked into her living room to find Rachel and Ethan sitting a little too close on the couch. Their conversation stopped the second she entered. They smiled, acting as if nothing had happened. But Claire couldn't shake the feeling that she had interrupted something. At a weekend barbecue, Claire noticed Rachel's hand brush against Ethan's. Quick, almost accidental. But when their eyes met, there was something there. Something Claire couldn't explain. That night, as Ethan talked with friends, Rachel caught his gaze across the room. The look they shared was anything but casual. And then, there were the whispers. Low voices behind closed doors. Quick exchanges that ended the moment Claire walked in. She told herself she was imagining it. Rachel would never do that to her. Ethan loved her. But the questions wouldn't stop. Doubt became a constant shadow. Every smile between them felt like a secret. Every touch, no matter how small, seemed to carry meaning. The friendship that once felt unshakable now felt fragile, like it could break at any moment. When trust starts to crack, everything built on it begins to fall apart. And the pieces never land gently. Late at night, the glow of a phone screen casts faint light across a quiet bedroom. Claire lies awake, staring at the ceiling. Sleep doesn't come easily anymore. The doubts she tried to silence have only grown louder, and the tension between Rachel and Ethan is impossible to ignore. Every smile feels like a lie. Every quiet moment between them feeds her suspicion. On the nightstand, Ethan's phone vibrates softly. He's asleep beside her, his breathing steady and calm. Curiosity mixes with fear as Claire reaches for the phone. She tells herself she's only looking for peace of mind, a way to quiet the thoughts that won't leave her alone. At first, nothing seems unusual, messages from friends, work emails. But then, there's something else. A thread of messages under a name she knows too well, Rachel. What starts as harmless talk shifts quickly. Inside jokes she's never heard. Late-night conversations that stretch for hours. And then, The words she hoped she'd never see. Words that shatter any hope she had left. Flirty comments, secret plans to meet, and confessions that leave no room for doubt. The air seems to thicken around her. Every message feels like a fresh cut, deeper than the one before. The best friend she trusted. The boyfriend she loved. Both of them had crossed a line, and now there was no going back. Heart pounding, Claire sets the phone down. But the messages won't leave her mind. The laughter, the whispers, the stolen glances. It had all been real. And now there was only one thing left to do. In the dark, anger begins to rise. Slow, steady, and unstoppable. The apartment is quiet, but inside, everything is on edge. Claire stands in the middle of the living room, phone clutched tightly in her hand. Ethan walks in, his usual calm replaced by confusion when he sees her face. Without a word, she holds the phone out to him. The silence hangs heavy between them. His expression shifts, first confusion, then something else. Guilt. There's no point denying what's already in front of her. The questions come fast, and the answers are slow. Excuses fall flat. The words, "It didn't mean anything," only make it worse. Every apology sounds empty. For months, they had lied to her, smiling to her face while sharing something behind her back. Tears burn hot as she demands to know why. Why her best friend? Why the lies? But no answer is enough to explain the betrayal. The man she thought she knew is a stranger now. And the friendship she believed would last forever has turned into a cruel joke. But one question still remains. How long had Rachel been pretending? The thought burns in her mind. And the anger that started as a spark is now a fire she can't put out. And Rachel won't get away with this. Days pass, but nothing feels normal. Claire's world, once full of warmth, feels cold and empty. The people she trusted most have left her with nothing but anger and questions that won't stop. Alone in her apartment, she searches for answers. Social media becomes her obsession. Every picture of Rachel and Ethan feels like a fresh betrayal. Smiling faces, shared moments. It's all there, proof that while she was hurting, they were growing closer. Memories replay in her mind. The nights Rachel canceled plans without reason. The way Ethan's phone would light up at odd hours. Every detail she once ignored now feels like a warning she missed. The more she digs, the clearer it becomes. This wasn't a mistake. It was planned. And the people she loved had turned her trust into a game. The anger no longer feels like something she can control. Sitting in the darkness, Claire begins to imagine a world where Rachel pays for what she's done. A world where betrayal doesn't go unpunished. And once the thought is there, it won't go away. Days turn into nights, but the pain doesn't fade. Claire tries to move on, but the images of Rachel and Ethan haunt her. No apology can erase the betrayal. No explanation can undo what they did. The world she trusted is gone, replaced by something darker. Something she can't let go of. Sitting alone in her dimly lit apartment, her thoughts grow heavier. The hurt twists into anger, and that anger becomes something else. She wants them to feel what she feels. Loss, pain, and regret. The idea starts small, a passing thought. But once it takes root, it grows fast and refuses to leave. Her fingers tremble as she types words into a search engine. The questions she once thought impossible now feel necessary. How to disable a car's brakes. At first, the search feels unreal, as if it's someone else doing it. But with each click, her heart pounds harder. Step-by-step instructions fill her screen. Diagrams, videos, and tutorials, all laid out in front of her. It looks so easy, too easy. She watches closely, taking in every detail. Tools she never thought she'd need now seem like the answer to the ache inside her. She starts gathering the supplies. A wrench, wire cutters, gloves. Each item feels like a commitment, a step closer to something she can't undo. At the hardware store, she keeps her voice steady when asking for the right tools. No one looks at her twice. To them, she's just another customer. But in her mind, a plan is forming. Late at night, when the world is quiet, she practices. In the empty parking lot of her building, she kneels by her own car, tracing the lines under the frame. Her hands are steady now, more sure than they were before. With each practice run, the hesitation fades. What once felt impossible now feels like the only way. Still, something lingers, doubt. Moments alone bring flashes of who she used to be. She remembers the good times with Rachel, the laughter, the promises. There was a time when Rachel was more than a best friend. She was family. But family doesn't do what Rachel did. And that thought silences the doubt. The night is cold and still. In the shadows of Rachel's driveway, Claire waits. Her heart beats fast, but her hands are steady. The garage door stands closed, but she knows Rachel's routine by heart. Every Wednesday, Rachel forgets to lock the side entrance. It's a habit Claire once teased her about. A careless mistake that tonight will cost her. The door clicks open. Inside, the smell of motor oil lingers in the air. Rachel's car sits quietly in the dark, waiting. Every step echoes too loud, but nothing stops her now. She kneels beside the car, tools in hand. The air feels heavy, thick with the weight of what she's about to do. Underneath the car, she finds the brake line, just like in the videos. Thin, fragile, and so easy to cut. Her breath comes fast as she works, hands trembling slightly. One wrong move and it will all be over too soon. But she's careful, removing just enough to weaken the line without making it obvious. If anyone checks, it will look like an accident. That's the plan. No one will know. No one will suspect. For a brief moment, she hesitates. The memory of their friendship flashes through her mind. Sleepovers, birthday surprises, the times Rachel stood by her side when no one else did. But those memories feel distant now, like they belong to someone else. The Rachel she loved is gone, replaced by a woman who betrayed her trust. The final cut is smooth. It's done. The brakes are no longer safe. Claire wipes her hands on a rag, hiding every trace of what she's done. Before leaving, she takes one last look at the car. Tomorrow, Rachel will drive it. She won't know anything is wrong until it's too late. The next morning, sunlight washes over Rachel's house. Birds sing, and the world moves on, unaware of the danger that waits. Rachel steps outside, keys in hand, smiling like nothing is wrong. The engine hums softly as the car backs out of the driveway. Claire watches from a distance, hidden behind the curtain of her apartment window. The car rolls down the street, disappearing around the corner, and then cut to black. The sun hangs low in the sky as Rachel's car glides along a quiet, winding road. Music hums softly from the speakers. Her hands rest lightly on the wheel, her mind drifting, unaware that danger waits beneath her feet. The road curves sharply ahead. It's a stretch of highway she's driven many times, one she knows well. But today is different. Today, the car won't respond the way it should. When she presses the brake pedal, there's nothing. No resistance. No slowing down. Panic floods her chest as she presses harder, but the car only picks up speed. The wheels tremble beneath her as the engine hums louder. Fear sharpens her senses. She grips the steering wheel, trying to stay calm, trying to think. But the road twists, and the brakes remain useless. Each curve becomes harder to control. The guardrail flashes by, too close, too fast. The final turn is sharp and unforgiving. Tires screech against the pavement as she struggles to regain control. For a moment, everything moves in slow motion, her heart pounding, the world spinning. And then silence shatters into chaos. The car veers off the road. Metal crunches as it plunges into a deep ditch. Dust and shattered glass fill the air. The world goes quiet again, but this time, nothing will ever be the same. Hours later, Claire's phone buzzes. She's been waiting for this moment. But now that it's here, a chill runs down her spine. A familiar voice on the other end trembles with shock. Words come slowly, almost too heavy to speak. Rachel's name is mentioned. And then the words that change everything. She didn't make it. The phone slips from Claire's hand. For a long moment, the world stands still. The plan was never supposed to go this far. It was meant to be a warning, something to scare her, to make her pay. But now Rachel is gone, and there's no undoing what's been done. Night falls heavy over Claire's apartment. The lights stay off. The air is thick and still. Every shadow seems to press against her, and the weight of what she's done crushes her from all sides. On the table, the tools she used sit in plain sight, cold reminders of a plan she can't erase. Her hands tremble as she gathers them, stuffing everything into a bag. If there's no evidence, maybe it will all go away. Maybe she can forget. But no matter how much she tries to bury the truth, it won't leave her alone. Her mind replays the call again and again. Every word burns into her memory. Rachel is gone, and it's her fault. In her bedroom, the walls seem to close in. The silence is unbearable. Her breath quickens, her chest tightens. The guilt is no longer a whisper. It's a roar, consuming every part of her. Tears break through the surface. Deep, uncontrollable sobs shake her body as the truth crashes down. She wanted revenge, but not this. Never this. Alone in the darkness, she clutches a pillow, as if holding on to something will stop her from falling apart completely. But nothing can change what's already done. And the guilt, no matter how much she tries to hide it, won't let her go. In the sterile, fluorescent-lit garage of the police impound lot, Rachel's wrecked car sits in eerie silence. The twisted metal and shattered glass tell part of the story, but not all of it. For the trained eye, some things don't add up. A mechanic hired by the investigation kneels beside the vehicle, his hands moving carefully along the undercarriage. What should be intact is broken cleanly and deliberately. His face tightens as he inspects the damaged brake line. This wasn't wear and tear. It didn't snap on its own. Someone made it happen. His findings reach the lead detective, a seasoned investigator who has seen too many cases where things are not what they seem. At first, it appeared to be an accident, a tragic loss on a dangerous road. But the evidence suggests something else. The autopsy report confirms what the crash couldn't explain. Rachel wasn't impaired. No health issues. No signs of distraction. Everything about her that day was normal except the car. And when mechanical failure is ruled out, there's only one possibility left. Someone tampered with it. The question now is who? It doesn't take long for Rachel's circle of friends to paint a clearer picture. Whispers about a falling out. A betrayal that cut deep. And one name keeps coming up, Claire. Several friends recall how close they once were and how quickly things changed. Others mention the growing tension after Claire discovered the affair. What seemed like harmless jealousy at first grew darker. Claire stopped coming to group outings. When Rachel and Ethan showed up, Claire would leave. And in the days leading up to the crash, her behavior became more unpredictable. The pieces begin to form a troubling picture. What started as heartbreak may have turned into something else, something far more deliberate. And Claire? She's about to find herself face to face with questions she can't escape. The interrogation room is cold and unforgiving. Gray walls, a steel table, a single chair waiting in the center. Claire sits across from two detectives, her face pale, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. The air in the room feels heavy, like it's pressing down on her from all sides. The lead detective opens a folder, his voice calm but sharp. He's done this before, and he knows the signs of someone hiding the truth. Claire looks fragile, but there's something beneath the surface, something he's determined to uncover. At first, the questions are simple. Where was she the night before the accident? When was the last time she saw Rachel? But then the focus sharpens. They ask about the breakup, about the night she found out. Her body stiffens when they mention Ethan's name. She tries to answer without emotion, but the anger and pain still linger in her voice. The detective slides a photograph across the table, an image of the damaged brake line. The cut is clear and deliberate. He watches her reaction closely. Her breath catches in her throat. She tries to keep her face neutral, but her trembling hands betray her. They know. The questions come faster now, each one striking closer to the truth. Did she know about the faulty brakes? Had she ever touched Rachel's car? Did she want revenge? Her defenses begin to crack. The evidence is overwhelming, too much to explain away. Friends have spoken. Surveillance cameras placed her near Rachel's house the night before the crash. And the searches on her computer methods of vehicle tampering are impossible to ignore. Tears well up in her eyes as the weight of everything crashes down. Her voice shakes when she speaks, words tumbling out in broken fragments. I didn't mean to hurt her. I just wanted her to feel how I felt. She betrayed me and it wasn't fair. I didn't want this to happen, but intentions won't change the outcome. And now there's no escaping the truth. The courtroom is filled with a heavy silence, broken only by the faint rustle of papers and the occasional clearing of a throat. Rows of people sit tense, their faces a mix of sorrow and anticipation. At the front, Claire sits at the defendant's table, her shoulders slumped, eyes red and swollen from endless nights of tears. The judge enters and everyone rises. Claire's heart pounds in her chest, her hands cold and shaking. This moment, this one terrible moment, will decide everything. The jury foreperson stands, holding the small slip of paper that carries the weight of her fate. The judge nods, signaling for the verdict to be read. Claire's breath catches as the words echo through the courtroom. Guilty. The word hangs in the air, heavy and final. Claire's face crumples, tears streaming down her cheeks as the reality of her actions crashes down. This wasn't how things were supposed to end. A friendship once full of laughter and trust is now buried beneath heartbreak and blame. The judge's voice cuts through the room, calm but firm. There is no joy in delivering the sentence, only a profound sadness for what has been lost. Jealousy destroyed 3 lives that day. The judge says, his words steady and unforgiving. One life is gone forever. Another will never be the same. And yours is a reminder that actions, no matter how small, carry consequences that cannot be undone. Claire lowers her head, her body trembling under the weight of what she has done. Whatever anger she felt, whatever pain she wanted to inflict, it no longer matters. The damage is irreversible, and now she must face the price. In the weeks that follow, Rachel's absence lingers like a shadow over everyone who knew her. Her family gathers at a quiet park for a memorial, their faces etched with grief that time may soften but never fully erase. A large photograph of Rachel stands beneath a canopy of flowers, a reminder of a life full of promise, stolen too soon. Friends share memories through broken voices. They speak of her kindness, her laughter, and the dreams she never got to fulfill. But underneath their words is the unspoken truth. None of this had to happen. Ethan stands apart from the crowd, his face pale and distant. Whatever guilt he carries, no words can release him from it. 2 women he once loved, one gone forever, the other paying a price no apology could fix. At the same time, Claire sits alone in a cold, gray prison cell. The world she once knew, filled with late-night talks, laughter, and plans for the future, is now nothing but a distant memory. Each day, she replays the choice she made, knowing she can never undo it. In the grip of jealousy, a moment's decision can echo forever. One choice, one moment of jealousy, and 3 lives changed forever. Was it a carefully planned act, or a heated decision made in the grip of heartbreak? What do you think? Could Claire have stopped herself, or was she already too far gone? We want to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below. If you found this story compelling, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more real-life stories that reveal how quickly life can change. Your support helps us bring you more gripping tales.